You're listening to Wealth at Work, a show designed to help advisors think, make decisions, and cast a vision to create a business for the future. Hosted by financial planner, author, speaker, and CEO of Advisor2X, Ross Marino.
We're joined today by Brett and Alex. Hello, guys.
Hi there. Ross, how are you?
It's good. Looking forward to your session. The title is Retirement Committee Meetings of the Future. And as an advisor for many years, I'm a sucker for any conversation on the future. I obviously don't know what's going to happen. I think about it. I know you guys are thinking about it. I know you think a lot about it. So you're going to talk about it. So why don't we start with how the meetings of the future are going to shift in what we deliver?
Well, look, we're pumped to have the opportunity to present at Wealth at Work. You know, Brett is so busy. He's in the lab thinking up of what's happening in the future. He can't even be bothered to have a video on him right now. But, you know, I think that there's such a great group of strong retirement advisors across the country who've been doing excellent meetings year over year. And we've risen the bar of what a baseline high quality retirement plan looks like. But what I believe in, and I think Brett shares this viewpoint of, is that in the maturation of the 401k industry, you know, we need to push the envelope. We need to think more with our committee members, with organizations, on how to really make a difference for their employees. And so that means, you know, getting a little uncomfortable and not spending as much time perhaps on the basic foundational pieces of plan data and engagement among employees on the retirement plan, but being more thoughtful, more holistic around what really drives an organization, what drives their employees to financial security and financial success, and how to create a connection with the committee to be able to, you know, have those discussions and make changes.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. What do you think, Brett?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm excited for this session because I want to compliment Alex. He has done a lot for our industry, and I appreciate that he's been out there, you know, front facing, battling to solve these issues. And I think all of us appreciate it. So I just want to make that point. I'm excited to, you know, to be part of this session, but I'm going to build on two things there. One, the connection part, because Alex just used that phrase. To me, what problem are we solving? That's you got to start there. So if you look at it that way, you know, kind of the old model, yesterday's meeting, you come in, you talk about the triple F stuff, right? The funds, the fees, all the fiduciary talk. But what are you really solving at the end of the day? And I think that it's tough to come up with a good answer if that's your approach, right? So here we are at this impasse. Just like Alex said, how can we go farther? How can we push that envelope? Let's go back to what problem are we solving? What I see, employers and employees have some pretty big problems, okay? And I think we talk about them a lot. The challenge for the advisors is how can we solve those big problems, right? At the employer level, it's the Great Resignation. It's super expensive. When you can't get the right people in the door, they don't stay and they don't engage. That is a massive, probably multi-trillion-dollar problem, global problem, by the way, not just in the US. So that's a big one. And then at the employee level, you know, they're not getting what they want, or they would be staying at these companies. They have a lot of financial challenges, which I know Alex deals, you know, very closely with that in his practice. I'm certainly aware of it. I've seen it for 20 years. You know, a lot of their problems extend way beyond, is my portfolio built correctly? You know, am I in the right type of 401k? It's all these other issues surrounding planning for their children, college costs, life insurance, you know, just foundational financial issues that they're not able to solve. So I kind of threw a lot out there on the table, but I think those are the real problems that we have to figure out how to solve them. And we can certainly talk about that, about how to do it.
Well, if you're shifting your approach to the problems that you're addressing, you've now just expanded what you're going to be talking about. So not only will you be delivering more content, but I'd imagine most everybody isn't going to want to read it on a web page. So sounds like you're going to have to shift your delivery as well. What do you think is going to happen in the future, Alex?
Well, I think that the last couple of years have helped magnify how quickly we can adapt to technology, and also how little time we all have to focus our attention on things, whether it's in the context of a retirement committee trying to make big decisions for the long-term financial success of their organization and their people. So, we're already looking at this, and I think when we get a chance to be out there in Vegas for the event, we'll be having a discussion with the audience around how to best deliver actionable items to plan sponsors, to committee members, to stakeholders at the plan level and the employee level to, as Brett put it, get to the root of these challenges that individuals and organizations face to drive change, to drive enhancements, and drive decisions. And I think it's going to be a myriad of things. So content delivery, kind of creating the right sequential steps for committee members to be able to understand and digest certain decision points. But I also think it's a shift in the format of a meeting. That's why we're calling it the future of committee meetings, from presentation of data and information and some recommendation to implementation. I think it's going to be a much more interactive, iterative process with committee members to understand what's really driving them. What are the things that they worry about in the context of their role at the organization? And how can we, thinking maybe in this silo of retirement, but then blowing the walls off of that into a bigger picture, how can we actually help make a difference? How can we actually do something for them at the committee and at the organization level that we know helps their employees? So I think we're gonna have a lot of ideas, and some of those ideas that Brett and I are gonna share, we might, get some critique on when we're presenting this together, and it may open our eyes. So we're excited to, lay out some beliefs and some ideas and have those things tested and challenged in a kind of fast-paced discussion and presentation, and hopefully allow for all of us that are in that room at the Wealth at Work conference to leave with some actionable takeaways.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some great interaction. What do you think, Brett?
No, first of all, I welcome the critiques. I mean, look, Alex has a ton of great ideas. We've been to your conferences in the past. There are a lot of smart people there, no shortage of opinions. Put it all on the table. That's how we all get better. I mean, I don't think any one person, I don't have all the solutions, might have an inkling, a clue, some breadcrumbs on a couple things, but the more the merrier. So I'm ready for it. But I will say this, I think that there has to be literally like a fundamental shift, paradigm shift in the way that we're approaching these meetings, because, if you're going to have impact, you have to, again, take a couple steps back and just say, what are we doing here? What are the real needs? And I think when you look at consulting broadly, there's a lot of product comparison. Okay. And I think if you look at our industry, now that you've had retirement plans out there for 40 years or so, it's a mature industry. The products are essentially commoditized, and Alex knows this. I mean, yeah, there's some little differences, but the reality is if I covered up the names, whether it's, record keeper ABC or TPA, DEF, there's not a lot of difference there. And so if that's the value prop that the advisor is bringing to the organization, back to the employer and the employees who are the core clients that need help, I think there's a big gap there. And that's where I think, there's a lot of meat on the bone. There are ways to do it, but I would say data is really important, meaning advisors have been locked out of that conversation. We've been arguing with record keepers over plan participant data for literally like 20 years. And that's getting a little old. I would say we got to step back and go, why are we arguing over that data? There's a lot of other data out there that's very relevant to an employer, like how their benefit stack looks compared to their competitors. Maybe that would help them understand, hey, if I offer, an HSA program, payroll deducted 529 plan, if I do some things for my key executives who are making a lot of money, if I have an awesome financial wellness program that, groups like Alex and his team can drive results across credit cards and student loans and emergency savings, like that's a pretty exciting conversation. That's not happening broadly right now out in the field. Okay. People are talking about it, but it's not actually happening. You need the data, in my opinion, in the advisor's hands to be able to solve those issues, because with the data, that shows us who works at these companies, shows us where their problems are, where their needs are. And then you can teach the employer to bridge that gap by offering the right programs and having a consultant who can then drive the results and report back the impact. That is a fundamentally different way of consulting than what you see today, which again, if we're honest, we're doing a lot of product comparisons. TPA 1 versus TPA 2, this asset manager versus that asset manager, target dates versus managed accounts, record keeper A versus record keeper B. I just think we got to get beyond that.
So the future of this industry, a fundamental shift, a paradigm shift. I agree 100%. It's going to be exciting. Look forward to seeing you guys in Vegas.
You got it, man. We're going to have a blast.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Thank you for listening to Wealth at Work. The information covered and posted represents the views of the guests and does not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Advisor 2X. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investment advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.